What's up, guys? Coach Frost here. Today, I got to sit down with Wendy and Annabelle, two of the founders of the Houston Ice Sports Coalition. We discussed the recent closure of the Memorial City Mall ice rink, how that's impacted thousands of Houstonians, and this impressive group of people they've put together to help go do something about this. Hope you guys enjoy.
We have breaking news. So, after we recorded the podcast, Metro National has agreed to keep Memorial City's ice rink open until December 14th.
We're so excited about this, and we specifically want to thank Scooter Hicks from Metro National for meeting with members of the Houston Ice Sports Coalition and working with us to make this happen.
We are super excited, too, that we're going to have one more Nutcracker on Ice show in December. So, bringing the community together one more time is really a bonus.
Yeah, and even up until then, we still have all of our Learn to Skate classes and our hockey classes open for fall registrations. So if you're interested, sign up. Our ice rink is still open.
Come join us.
Okay, so this to me is a story about a community full of people that had something cool that they loved for like generations. You guys have been doing this, I'm guessing, your whole lives. I want to hear more about that in a little bit. And then sort of lost it, sort of got it taken away. I don't know exactly how to say it.
Yeah.
But y'all didn't just sit back and take it. Y'all are doing something about it, which is really cool. So tell us what's going on with the ice rink.
All right. Well, we are here on behalf of the Houston Ice Sports Coalition. It's a group of people who are part of the leadership of different organizations within the ice sports community. So it's hockey, figure skating, women's and men's hockey, youth, adult, pretty much any group you could think of that would exist on an ice rink.
Mm-hmm.
And we are attempting with all of our hearts to build a new ice rink within the Memorial Spring Branch area.
And this is a big deal because the sweaty jocks are now friends
Yeah.
with the petite figure
Twirly
skaters.
girls.
Twirly girls. Okay.
Yeah, but this is following the closure of Ice Skate Memorial City. So they're closing July 31st of this year.
Okay.
And we only got told of this in April.
Yeah.
So
And
we've
y'all been hustling ever since.
moving pretty quickly, yeah.
And so there's been a bunch of ideas on what to do next, how to keep everybody together. Y'all formed a group full of representatives from everybody that's on the ice. And what's the plan? What are we going to do? Where are we going to skate? What's going on? What's the skating landscape of Houston like anyway? If this thing goes away, there's a massive void.
Yeah. So currently in Houston, we have, I think, 5 ice rinks.
Okay.
You have Memorial City, obviously. You have Galleria, which is not a regulation size ice rink, so you can't have any sports on it, really. You can't play hockey on it.
Okay.
And figure skating kind of suffers, especially because they have a tree in the middle of it half the year.
Okay.
Then
It's
you
a
have
mini rink. We
Yeah.
call it a mini rink.
Got it.
And then you have Bellerive, which is 1 sheet over in Sharpstown. You have Aerodrome, which is 1 sheet up in Cypress. And then you have Sugarland, which is 2 sheets over in Sugarland. We are having another rink come up over in Richmond. And they're calling it Deep South. They have 2 sheets over there. But as you can imagine, all of those are really far away except for Bellerive. And while Memorial City was down in January and February of this year, Bellerive had to put out a statement of like, hey, all these people that are coming in from Memorial City, it's actually unsafe for us to have this many people on our ice. So we're going to have to start limiting the number of people, the number of coaches that can be on any given time.
So there is a big demand for folks that want to, you think, Houston, Texas, as hot as it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Okay. Just to clarify, when Memorial City shuts down, it is a huge impact to us
Yeah.
because right now Memorial City is 1/3 public skate, 1/3 hockey, and 1/3 figure skating time.
Okay.
So that's important because it's kind of the pipeline that gets into the sport. Starts in group classes. They come from public skaters. They show up, they take classes, and they choose between hockey and figure skating, and it grows the sport locally.
Okay.
So when that shuts down, people always ask, well, why don't you just skate at the Galleria? Like, it's a really strange answer, being that it's a mini rink.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Bellerive is not open to the public.
Okay.
So that 1 sheet in Sharpstown, it was Sharpstown Ice back in the day. And then
Okay.
it was bought by a private owner. And it's a great training center. They don't do public skate. They don't have rental skates.
They don't do
right?
learn to skate sessions for
it's
younger
training.
children. The hockey and figure skating communities there are more of an elite level, like real training facility rather than something that's like really community run or has like different nonprofit organizations working out of it.
So in August, after the rink closes July 31st, we have 4 full sheets of ice
Which isn't
in
enough
Houston.
for Houston.
It's shocking. Dallas has 23.
23
23.
in Dallas?
And as a native Houstonian, that drives me
Oh,
crazy.
these Dallas guys, you can't let them win.
It
Wow.
drives me crazy. So, and I've skated in Dallas, and it's great, right? You
Yeah.
can find ice time, you can go, and it's wonderful. The sheets are kept up really well. The facilities are really nice. And I struggle to think we're going to let Dallas have 23 to our 4.
That's funny.
We're gonna
So-
let them beat us.
Yeah.
How dare they?
So just as a business guy thinking, Metro decided to shut down the rink, not because the rink wasn't profitable or not successful, just because they have different plans for developing that site, right?
Absolutely.
So if you're looking from a business lens, there is a demand for more ice rinks here in Houston. So opening more ice rinks would seem like a good business decision for a business guy. Or
Yes.
I know y'all are looking at potentially a nonprofit owning this thing, so it's got, you can control its destiny forever.
Yeah. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Houston Ice Sports Coalition, or Houston ISC as we're shortening it to, we are currently a Texas nonprofit. So we've already filed our paperwork with Texas. We just got an EIN, so heading forwards, but we haven't yet filed our IRS paperwork to be an official 501c3, but that's the direction that we're heading. And hopefully the facility that we're aiming to build, we will own the land as well as the building on top of it, so that these big corporations, we are not just at their whim, basically.
Our company, Elite MMA, we've got 6 locations here in Houston. And what we found, when we were creating our risk analysis, you think, if somebody slips and falls, so somebody gets injured on the mat. But really, the biggest risk to our company has been exactly what happened to you guys. We've been, somebody buys a shopping center we're in, decides to tear down that shopping center, build something else. Then we got to go. I think that's happened to us 3 or 4 different times out of these 6 locations. And so it was like, oh my gosh, you got to control your own destiny. And so, I think that's a really smart move for you guys.
Yeah, and it's not really about controlling what happens. It's just making sure that the community is there for anybody that it needs to be.
Yeah.
And there's huge demand going on because the Olympics were probably our best
For America,
figure skating and hockey Olympics
Yeah.
that we've had in decades.
I
So
mean, women's and men's golds in hockey. Alyssa Liu became an international star overnight. I mean, people are interested. I mean, you've got the 2 big TV shows like Heated Rivalry, Off Campus, huge hockey shows. People are interested. NHL's possibly coming to either Houston or Austin. We're kind of in a runoff right now between the 2 cities of who's
really?
getting the NHL team.
Cool.
And that would be huge for Houston if NHL came.
Is there a
I
Dallas team?
Yes,
Yeah, the
Dallas Stars.
That's why they have 23 rinks, is because the NHL money is going into it. And
Interesting.
this is a big time for skating.
So usually it's a 4-year cycle, right, with the Olympics, and you see all these people register for learn to skate classes because they've watched it on TV and they
Okay.
want to come and try it out. And I was in Colorado Springs at the U.S. Figure Skating headquarters back in May for an annual meeting, and talking to other presidents of local clubs. Booming. The demand is huge. They don't have enough ice time for the learn to skate classes because adults are showing up
Yeah.
because they've seen Alyssa Liu, who's our Olympic champion,
Yeah.
retired and then came back and won, which has never been done before.
And
so
she
now,
did it with passion. It's
and
because she
joy.
loves the sport.
Yeah.
So all these adults show up to go, oh, they skated as a kid. They want to come back and try it again. So all of this is happening. And sure enough, our rink is closing. It's just the worst possible time.
My hope is that
Yeah.
by the time the next Olympics come around, we have a new rink and can facilitate all the interest.
Yeah, because realistically, how long does it take to build a rink? What do y'all think? If you had the capital and the land picked out today.
If we had all of that today, if we had the land today,
Yeah.
a year and a half.
Okay.
I'm more on that 2 to 3
Okay.
Yeah.
cycle.
It
If
always
we're
costs more and takes
still-
longer.
If
Yeah.
we're still looking
Yeah.
for land, if we're still looking for capital, probably closer to 3.5 years.
Yeah.
But we're optimistic.
Yeah.
So
Well, cool. Well, tell me more about just rinks in general nationwide. Who usually owns rinks? Is it a mix of?
It's a mix.
It's all kinds of people. It's private owners, as you've seen with Bellerive. It's companies.
Tell me more about
we were-
Bellerive. What's the story on that?
So that was the old Sharpstown ice rink
Okay.
that has been around since the 70s.
Okay.
It was bought by, I think, a hockey family
Probably.
for hockey kids. Like, I think they thought it was going to be a private facility for them.
That's kind of common in our thing too. Like somebody who's wealthy, their kids are really into it, and they start a gym or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then there were a couple of adult figure skaters that got involved and said, hey, you can't use it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
maybe we should be able to use it some of the time.
Okay.
So now it's a pretty
And
big
now it's pretty big.
figure skating as well. A lot of figure skating happens like early mornings ish during the day, and I know that that's not really the hours that like hockey likes to operate. They like to operate like really early mornings or like evenings, and that's generally the pattern that we see across Houston. Is at Memorial, figure skating takes up probably like 6 to 11 a.m. Hockey can sometimes happen before that, or like in the evenings around like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then the public hours are generally like that afternoon time when kids get out of school or like the weekends.
And so it's still privately owned?
Yes.
And,
Yes.
Bellerive. Yes.
And it's profitable. I mean, to y'all's knowledge, it's doing well, especially since Memorial City's closing. And when it was closed a few months ago, there was a ton of people going over there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would say there are more profitable businesses, but yeah. So as far as we know, yeah, they've been doing well. They're not under any threat of closure.
So not to like get into their business but just like as somebody like them opening another one, if they're like in my world, if our gym is full, then we could open another one a few miles down the road.
So they did actually.
Oh, they
That's where
did. Okay.
Deep South comes from. They have the same owner as Bellerive. They're having the same management as far as we know. They're over like 99 in West Park, basically.
Oh, okay, got it.
Down in Richmond. There are going to be 2 sheets. They have a junior hockey team going
Okay.
over there. And they're ready to open, I think, in August of this year, maybe September.
Oh, really?
Um,
As in like a few months from now?
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, well, that's
But
fantastic.
I think I looked up just to see the property tax on that place. And I think they bought the land 8 years ago. So it's taken a long time to get that rink open.
Okay,
Yes.
got it.
Yeah. So it's not a quick endeavor.
Yeah.
But we think there is a way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why we want to be involved in this. When I travel, I attend the U.S. Adult Championships every year.
Okay.
It's a wonderful event.
I've been to most of them since the year 2000.
Okay.
So I've seen a lot of rinks because it
Mhm.
moves all over the country. It's in April of every year. And I've been to some really nice rinks that kind of make you feel bad about what you come home to. But a lot of them are like owned by the county, Parks and Recreation,
Okay.
things like that. So it's a model we're not used to in Texas as far as this public-private
Yeah.
partnership
Yeah.
stuff. But it is a nice way to kind of subsidize the community part of it. Because usually it can be part of a recreation center where there's a swimming pool, there are tennis courts, there
Yeah.
There's a
are yoga
volleyball
rooms. Like,
facility. There's
Well,
a
like-
soccer field.
Like look at Memorial Park in Houston. you know?
Yes,
I mean, it's got all that
yes,
stuff.
yes.
If you had a hockey
Yeah.
rink somewhere on there. Yeah.
it's ideal. And I've never understood why Houston didn't have more rinks because of the weather. Like, this is the best possible sport
That's
to be
funny.
in
Oh yeah.
most of
I
the
know.
year.
That is funny.
if you're up in the cold, you don't want more cold. If
I
you're
mean, it's
down in the heat.
fantastic.
But hockey and everything is more popular the further north you go,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but that's another thing that's brought demand to Houston. I had no idea how big hockey was. But we have a lot of people, obviously, in oil and gas, a lot of people coming from Canada.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They are like born with skates on.
Yeah.
And it's girls and boys. It's
Yeah.
adults and they're introducing
Yeah.
their kids. And I have taught a lot of adult skaters just in group classes
Yeah.
that are only doing it because their kids are in the hockey learn to skate class and they didn't want to sit on the benches, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna skate again.
Yeah, we have 3 major organizations that operate out of Ice Skate Memorial City that you wouldn't really consider like the stereotypical like hockey people.
Mhm.
Like you've got the normal like adult men's hockey and then like the youth boys hockey, but we have a youth girls hockey organization that just got started in like 2021.
Yeah, my
or-
friend Brandon's kid trains
Yeah,
there.
and they're the Houston Storm. They're wonderful. They've got a huge community of girls who are playing hockey, and it inspires confidence and determination in young girls, which is obviously needed everywhere. We've got the WOA, the Women's Hockey Outreach and Association of Houston, something like that. I'm I don't actually know what the acronym stands for.
Yeah, no,
but
that's cool.
we've got WOA.
We just hear whoa.
Yeah, we
It's
hear
a good
WOA.
one. That's all you
Yeah,
need to know.
they're adult women's hockey. They're super fantastic. Their president, I believe, Fran Schumann, she's also involved in Houston ISC.
Yeah.
And we've also got. I'm blanking. I forgot the third one.
So there's a ton of different groups.
Oh, and
Yeah.
we have the Harpies, the novice adult league that operates out of Memorial City, and that's actually like my dad started playing hockey about a year and a half ago, and he's just joined a game with them, had a great time.
And didn't lose any limbs? Or
No,
he's
he's.
still got all his teeth.
I mean, he
and-
started at 59. He's having a
What?
great time
It's
with it.
fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
nuts.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So the other thing that I did not see coming, U of H has a hockey team.
Rice has a
Oh,
hockey
Rice
team.
really?
has
Yes.
a hockey team and a figure skating team.
Where do
We're
they
like,
train?
Where are they going to train? Because
No,
we don't
they-
have ice.
Where were they training?
So,
They go to Bellerive, they go to Sugarland. I think U of H is now going to Deep South.
Okay.
So things are moving, things are expanding, the whole ice sports community is growing, and all of these organizations are dying for a facility that's closer to where they live and work. Like
Yeah.
U of H is very far from Richmond, Texas.
Yeah,
So is Rice University,
yeah.
and kind of their only option is Bellerive or Deep South or like Sugarland, something that's like 40 minutes away from where they live or work.
unless you're homeschooled, you're skating early in the morning before school and right after school. So I don't know what's going to happen to our community when Richmond is like the option to take all of our
Okay.
skaters.
So you got the Deep South folks on
And
the
Sugarland.
on the private side
Mhm.
opening some private rinks. At least they've got two now, or second one coming
Yeah.
online.
So
Sheets.
all of the ice rinks in Houston now, with the closure of Memorial City, are privately owned.
the Galleria, somebody
They're
rents that
they're
space, or-
Simon. They're the Simon Center.
the
Simon.
developers that own
Yeah.
the mall. Simon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
In our minds, though, Galleria doesn't.
It does.
Really
It's more
count.
of a holiday.
It's for the public.
It's for the public.
It's
Okay,
an
got it.
attraction for the mall for the public.
But
Which-
they do have learn to skate classes. They do have a figure skating program. They do
Yeah.
have that.
They've got that. But
Yeah.
yeah. So back in the day when people were building malls, something like that was a draw to get people to shop in the mall.
Yes.
Mhm.
Now, since the internet came about and everybody's shopping online, a lot of these malls have gone out of business for the last 10 or 15 years.
Mhm.
And everybody's shifted to pull up in front of a spot, green space, eat at a cool spot.
And that's
shop, and-
what Metro National's aiming to do. That's
Yeah.
what their redevelopment is. I think that the redevelopment is probably going to be good for the area. It's going to
Yeah.
be something like City Center, where you can show up in front of a shopping center and not spend a ton of time in a mall.
Yeah, and I heard a rumor at one point they were potentially going to donate a lot of the gear from, I don't know anything about hockey stuff, but the Zamboni maybe, I don't know, you know.
So that is
it-
something that we've heard about in their initial communication to the community, that saying that they're shutting down the ice rink. They did
Yeah.
mention at the bottom that all of the equipment and the boards and the Zamboni would be donated, quote, to the community.
Cool.
At the time, we had no idea who that is.
Yeah, y'all are getting organized
Yeah,
now.
we've kind of organized, and there is interest from the other ice rinks as well of getting some of that equipment as like backup equipment or like a better working Zamboni. We're still working all of that out, but we are interested in the equipment. We don't have anywhere to really put
Could you
it
just
at
put it
the
in
moment.
a pod?
It would cost a lot
a
of money.
lot.
Oh, there's a ton of stuff?
Yeah.
So it's all of the boards, all of the walls that like keep
Okay.
the ice rink in. It's
Yeah.
all the glass that exists on top of that.
Yeah.
It's the scoreboard, it's the Zamboni, it's any of the working mechanics in the back room, like all the things that keep the ice cold. Anything that still works and can be adapted to a new facility, they've offered that as well.
That's
All
fantastic.
of the rental skates,
Yeah.
all of the like
Okay, so you
the
guys,
walkers.
y'all need somebody that's listening to this who's got some space to store this stuff
Yeah,
till
if
y'all get
any-
your
yeah.
place built.
it's
if
an
anybody
NH,
has
it's
the space.
Yeah.
it's an NHL size rink.
Yeah, this is
So
this
it's
is a lot of
big.
It's a
money
lot of
worth of
walls.
stuff.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be great
is.
donation, and that would be great for Metro to donate that to the Memorial Figure Skating Club. That's you
Well,
guys, right?
more
Or
Houston.
Houston,
Houston
sorry.
Ice Sports.
I said-
Coalition. yes.
Houston Ice Sports Coalition.
Yes.
That's the new nonprofit.
And
that
we
we're
are
going.
we are a coalition because we were built off of the organizations that already exist. So we're all contributing our time because we're already involved in our respective organizations. And it's not some new organization that came out of the woodworks and it's like a brand new idea. It's more the coming together of communities that already exist and are
Yeah.
already very passionate about ice sports.
Okay, so the ask is Metro, donate that stuff to this group, and then somebody listening, store this stuff for this group till we can get the ice rink built.
Yeah, Metro knows we've put our names in the hats, and so they've been optimistically open to the idea.
Cool. Maybe they've got some space. Metro, store the stuff for us too, man. You know? they own everything around here.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, and then so we talked private a little bit. The public partnerships. Tell me more. That's in other parts of the country.
Other parts of the country.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
you see
common?
that. It'll be like a parks and recreation type facility. So
It'll be attached to a public park. It'll have some outdoor component in the wintertime. It'll have an indoor component that goes on all year. You've got things like, you probably don't know, the Pettit National Ice Center up in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
They have a speed skating ring. And then inside of that, because it's gigantic, they have 2 sheets of ice inside of that. And so they have kind of 3 different areas that they can have ice sports running at any given time. And they run off of a nonprofit model. We reached out to them and asked them how they operate, how their business works. And we've been kind of taking inspiration from them, as well as they've given some advice on how to make something like this sustainable.
So how and then in that type of environment, is the operator like a third party operator, whoever, or are they employed by the county, or how does that
It
work?
depends. You've got kind of a mix of all of the above.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, Memorial City right now is actually operated by a third-party company, that's Sports Facilities Company.
The rink.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
got
it's
it.
owned by Metro National, but it's
Yeah.
operated by Sports Facilities Company. We've reached out to Sports Facilities Company. We have a good relationship with them. They've also helped give us some advice, but
Yeah.
obviously they're a little bit of conflict of interest with Memorial City.
Do they
so they don't
operate multiple rinks across
Yes,
the country?
yes,
Yes.
they've got, I think, 20 plus rinks
Oh,
on their
cool.
docket right now.
So they know what they're doing when it comes to managing rinks.
Yes, we're totally committed to them at the moment. Like, we haven't signed any contracts
Yeah.
or like hired them or anything. But operators like that exist across the country.
Yeah.
We were previously operated by, oh my gosh, what were we called? Rink Management Services.
Okay.
Rink Management Corporation. We were previously operated by them, and then they got bought by Sports Facilities.
Mm.
So there are operators across the country who operate either for-profit or nonprofit businesses. They just get paid like
Yeah.
a percentage of the profits of the
Yeah.
facility.
Yeah.
And then you have people who operate privately. They just hire their own people, and they work off of either volunteers
Mom and pop
or
it. Yeah.
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 So you've got kind of a mix across the board. And it's not to say that like any one model is the perfect model and is like 100% successful all the time. It depends on the environment that you're in, the community base, the demographics of the area, obviously.
So
They all play a role.
to tease out if the mayor of Houston, the city council of Houston said, man, this is something cool. Houston needs in the Parks and Rec department, or, that could look like there's some land set aside. There's private dollars, corporate sponsors, whatever needs to happen as far as fundraising goes to build the facility. And then a third party group could manage that thing. It's not like the city's got to now learn how to manage a rink.
That's
you could
right.
just hire a group
And
to come in and do that.
That's our
ideal.
dream. Yeah.
That's
That's what we're going
That's
for.
best case scenario for
Yeah.
you guys.
Best case scenario is the city offers a lot of help. Worst case is city doesn't really offer any help, and we go for corporate sponsors and private donations for like 90% of our initial capital. And then from there, we operate and hopefully use the money that we make off of the ice rink to reinvest back into the community and really like give as much as we can to the people who are using the ice rink.
Okay, so best case scenario, mayor, city council set up, puts together a 3 to 5 year plan to get Houston an ice rink that
Mhm.
will stay in Houston forever.
Mhm.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
think
would.
about, I go to Memorial Park like all the time, and Memorial Park's twice the size of Central Park in New York. I didn't realize that until I started
Mhm.
Wikipediaing it. And the number of Houstonians that use that place, and that was donated, I guess, from the Hogg family, I don't know, 100 years ago or whenever. And just what a blessing that is for the whole entire city of Houston. Everybody from the golfers to there's swimming pools over there. There's tennis players. There's people on that trail. Go over there to Beck's Prime and get you a hamburger. I mean, it's such a cool thing. I don't know if ice rink fits in
mean-
Memorial Park, but
Well, I think what's unique about skating is that it takes a lot of capital and maintenance capital to run the rink,
Okay.
right? Because even with the Memorial Park facilities, I love the renovation. I use the park.
Yeah.
I think it's great. But it's not like you can just go put an ice rink
Yeah.
in the backyard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you
yeah,
can a baseball field, right? It
Right.
takes a lot.
Yeah.
But even in those examples and other places in the country where it's like part of Parks and Recreation,
Mm-hmm.
you're still charging skaters. There's still money coming in that helps with the maintenance. It's kind of subsidized because you've got the facility, but it might cost you like $7 for a 4-hour skate, right? Which is nothing,
Yeah.
but it still helps with covering some of the costs that a rink requires.
We had the guy that one of the guys that redid the Memorial Park golf course in here on the podcast, kind of giving us the behind the scenes look at that. And one of the things that I found interesting was Memorial Park golf course generates enough revenue that goes back into the kitty to help the other community golf courses, like say Sharpstown, that doesn't generate very much revenue, keeps that rolling. So.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that same model, I've never run numbers on an ice rink, but could it be a value add to the city and not just this empty bucket that you constantly have to throw money into for ice rink maintenance?
So the numbers that we've looked at for ice rinks just in general is
Mhm.
that you're lucky if you make a substantial profit, you probably break even. So it's not going to hopefully be this big money sink that you're constantly having to put money into just to keep it operating. We're hoping that our eventual facility would be something that would generate enough revenue to be self-sustaining. And then any money that is left over would be able to fund expansions or other projects on the same property.
And is that, let's dig into that a little bit. So is that because you're just not charging enough?
For ice skating currently?
Yeah, like if I'm a business guy, right? So
Yeah.
if I was going to put, how many millions of dollars does it cost to build an ice rink?
We're
depends.
looking for the most basic bare bones facility. If you're buying land in this area,
Forget about the land,
Memorial,
just the
just the
construction.
just the
rink.
construction, probably $3 to $5 million for just the building.
Okay, but we got some Metro donated gear. We got
Yeah.
some
The
other
Metro,
stuff.
the donated gear is probably only worth $500K.
So we're kind
Okay.
of looking at, it's like you can build a single sheet of ice.
Yeah.
You don't want to. For the economies of scale, you
You need
need
to
at
do two?
least 2 sheets, if
Okay.
not more.
Okay.
Some of the rinks that have gone in, like in Florida, Tampa area, they're like 4 to 6 sheets of ice. Like it's super impressive.
They're gigantic.
But here
Yeah.
we do 1 with the opportunity to expand to have 2. So
Okay, so
buy
you do
land
one
big
for
enough.
a couple $1 million, and then
Right.
2 of them's $5
So
million.
we're kind of
or-
looking at that all-in scenario. It's like 15 million to 50 million. What do you want to build, right?
Okay,
There's
now
a
you're scaring
range.
people. You gotta
There's
rein
a
this in.
range.
The 50,
Yeah.
the 50 million project is you have 2 sheets of ice. You have that multi-purpose facility where you might have a yoga studio in the back, and you might have indoor soccer on the
I
other
got it.
side.
Yeah, the
that's
big
a
arena
giant
thing,
sports
right?
Yeah, or you
complex,
have a restaurant on the top and a bar or whatever for the hockey games. But what we're talking about for the 15 to 20 million, including the land and all the
yes.
other things, that's the single sheet. It's pretty basic. You got a prefab steel building and a nice piece of land in a good area of town.
But the challenge with that is you don't want to just build the bare bones rink that you're just going to be able to take the existing skaters that have been displaced to.
Yeah.
You want to make it such that you can host events. You can have
Yeah.
hockey games. You can do Memorial Trophy is our annual competition, and it's a qualifying event for skaters that are looking
Okay,
to
I
go to
got
other
it.
things. When you look at that, there were 500 skaters and their families and their coach. We had 107 coaches, 29 officials that we fly in. They're all volunteers as well.
It was a huge
It's
event.
huge. I get 75 rooms. Used to be at the Westin Hotel because it's connected to Memorial City. But because the rink was closed due to maintenance issues,
Yeah.
We had to move the entire event
to
to Sugarland.
Sugarland.
Yeah.
And we were grateful for Sugarland to be able to cancel their programming and
Yeah.
let us come in. We bought a lot of ice. It was Thursday night through Sunday night,
Yeah.
15 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
But it's a big event. So if you just do the bare bones, how do we throw up a rink and $3 million for $3 million? You lose the opportunity to grow the community, to have the events,
Okay.
to have the hockey games.
So okay.
we're looking for more than just the temporary
I
solution
like
of
y'all
where
style.
do we
Y'all
put
are
our
going big or
skaters.
going home. What? Okay. The Deep South rink. Is that one? That's a 2-sheet
Two
that's
sheet.
coming
Two
out.
sheets.
Okay, and then
One of them is going to be the rink that this junior team is going to play on. So that's like primarily arena based. And then the other sheet is more like practice rink, community, whatever. And they are offering like figure skating times, but it's primarily a hockey facility.
And I know they're a for-profit company, and I don't want to get into their personal business. They didn't share what it cost to build
No.
that thing, right? Okay,
No.
so
I,
do you have a guess?
off the record,
Yeah,
I heard ballpark $50 million.
50 million.
50 because it's an arena.
That
It's an
seems crazy.
arena.
How
Like,
big of an arena? Are we
It's
talking?
big.
It's holding like
Are
4,000
we talking
people,
like-
5,000 people, something crazy.
It's like arena
Like
seating,
a
even like
Lakewood
stadium
Church,
seating.
The Houston,
It's
the
not
Summit
that big.
Compact Center big. Or?
It's not
no,
that
no,
big.
not that big, but it's
okay.
like it.
Like a
It's
high
got like
school
one
gymnasium.
one deck of seats all the way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So bigger than like Memorial City Mall.
It's much
with,
bigger.
with a bunch of seating.
So it's got 2 NHL size rinks with arena seating all the way around. I don't know how many seats that is,
Okay.
but it's a proper facility rather than just an ice rink. Like you could go and have an Olympic event there, right?
Yeah.
That kind of seating.
I mean, if you
Ice
think about the Galleria, how they have the like different levels that you can stand on and watch an ice show, it's like that, but if everybody was sitting.
Okay. So these Deep South guys, if they're putting 50 million or 20, whatever it is, they're not morons. Like they're getting a profit out of that.
Well, I think the hockey team that is moving to Richmond, Texas,
They're paying a lot.
are
to
paying
use
a
that
lot of money.
facility.
So I think that's facilitating the.
okay.
the
So
build. Yeah,
build.
the NHL team. Is that what no.
They are a junior hockey team.
Well, how
They're
much-
called the Bulls.
Do we know where they're coming from?
No,
But junior hockey just it can't be generating that much revenue. That's like minor league baseball, right? I mean, that's not the Astros level.
no, but it's enough to maintain their facility.
Okay, but still, if I'm a business guy and I'm putting 50 million bucks in something, I better have clarity on how I'm going to get a return on that investment, which would give me hope for the public-private partnership side of this. If you can get the city to set some land aside, raise some capital, donate, even if it's, I mean, 50 million sounds like a lot, but
It
again, I don't know
does.
anything
It
about
does.
hockey rinks, but whatever, it seems like you could generate enough revenue coming back in that you could make a profit from this thing, especially on donated land that would go back into the city kitty that could help other parks and rec type stuff.
And that's
Yeah.
what we're most optimistic about. That's our goal, because that option is there, and it's so it can be clearly laid out that it exists and that it's feasible. But we are kind of being cautious going into this of like, if somebody's donating millions of dollars to us, we don't want to overpromise on what we can return to them
Yes.
and to the community.
Okay. I like it. I like it. So best case scenario for you guys would be, I've traditionally, well, I guess let me ask you this. So if you go the city county route, you potentially preserve it, that and the nonprofit route, you steward it for the community. It's community driven. If you have a private, that's going to be, you need a return on investment that needs to generate revenue.
Yes.
So the private sector is going to be probably tighter margins. They're going to be pinching
Yes.
pennies more, and they're going to want to generate revenue, where this nonprofit version or the city county version is more community based. 50 years from now, it's still going strong.
Yes. Yes.
And best case scenario for y'all is the city version? Question mark.
We actually don't have a preference between the city version and the solo nonprofit version.
Okay.
They don't look very different from a numbers standpoint because neither one of them has an investor who needs a return.
So city version, you get free land. Nonprofit version, you got to go buy some land or
Yes.
lease it, or you
Yeah,
ground lease it, or whatever.
But city doesn't give away land, so
It would sit on a current park.
it would be
Question mark?
nice if the city has such objectives
Yeah.
of health and wellness, indoor facilities, recreational facilities.
Come on, guys.
things
Dallas.
like that.
20. How many rinks
Yep,
in Dallas?
23
23.
We got
sheets of
0.
ice.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's go, city.
It would be great because then it does look like they've got land available and we could have that, right? I even looked at, I think it was Northbrook Middle School that
Mhm.
announced a closure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, their
they're
final
closing a middle school.
this is their final, I guess, semester coming up, and then
Okay.
it'll close in 2027. I'm like, it's already sitting on land. What's going to happen when they close that? It's Spring Branch ISD. Wouldn't that be great, right? Use the land, put a rink on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to think the land exists, and we don't have access to some of that yet. But it would be wonderful if we could already repurpose something as far as indoor recreation. And we want this for the community
Yeah.
because we've seen what it can do for skaters.
Well, that's what I like
and
about you guys.
kids.
Y'all aren't here trying to go get an investor and trying to be the owners of some giant hockey rink. Y'all are like, we just want a rink to keep going.
I mean, on our website, we literally say that we are building a foundation for a premier community-based ice facility.
Yeah. To
That's our
stand the
goal.
test of time. To be here in
None of us are making any
yeah,
money
y'all
off
are
our
y'all are
efforts.
losing money doing this.
We're
and time.
spending our dollars to do the research and spend the time to
Yeah.
make sure that all of our IRS papers are correct before filing.
Okay. And so it'd be great if somebody, city council, mayor's office, etc., would do a deep dive into this. With what's best case scenario there? Have y'all
Yeah.
visited with anybody from city council or?
We have.
Yeah.
We have started to talk with city council.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, granted, it was in a slightly different capacity. It was kind of like, what can we do to keep our rink open?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how we started.
That was phase one. Was hey,
Phase
can we
one.
talk Metro into not closing?
Yeah. Can we at least delay the decision? Can
Yeah,
we at least
yeah.
keep it open a little bit longer to give us time to do something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just surprise, your rink goes away in a few months.
Yeah.
So at this point, we are looking forward. And I think the next ask for City of Houston is slightly different.
Okay.
And you've tried to reach out to the people about Memorial Park even, right?
I reached out to them once. They didn't respond, and we were very busy with other
Yeah.
things,
I
so
think
we
that's
haven't
gonna be-
really.
Scrambling.
That's a tough
Yeah.
one. I mean, there's
Yeah.
some
But-
conservative. Yeah,
but
there's
it's like, help us out. Like, how
Yeah.
did you do
How did you
this?
do it?
Give us some
Looking more,
advice.
yeah, for advice
Yeah.
for what resource did oh my gosh, what resources did you guys look for whenever you were doing your renovation, your redevelopment? Like what?
my buddy that did the golf course is downstairs training jiu-jitsu right now. We should just
Can
get
he
him-
come
get-
in?
Get him up here and
Can
get
he
him
come
to
in?
get
Can
us
we
to
talk to
fill in these
him?
gaps. We can grab him later. Okay.
I thought that was a great idea because
Yeah.
what's interesting about Memorial Park is, again, people are using it. It's not like they're paying for everything,
Yeah.
right? They're walking around the track, they're running, they're using the fields, they're bringing the
Yeah.
families there. And like,
But then they do pay for the golf course, which
do.
apparently brings
Yeah,
in enough funds for
it's
everything
a great
else.
deal. Yeah, I think
Do they
I
want
think
an
you-
ice rink on
Well,
the property?
I don't. I think you're going to have trouble trying to put an ice rink on Memorial Park, but that model is.
yes,
I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't scoured the
and
city's
that's
resources,
something that
but
we've really been looking at is like, how do we make it potentially mixed use or really
or
grow more communities within whatever facility we end up putting up?
what could be attractive is if the nonprofit side of this generated enough donations or revenue, whatever, to purchase some land that got donated to the city, that then they would build the asset on.
it would be great.
You know, if y'all, I don't know how many acres you need.
It'd be great.
Do y'all know how many acres you need? 5 acres? What?
We're looking around 4 or 5.
Four,
Yeah,
yeah.
'cause-
So if there's a 4 or
'cause-
5 acre tract, y'all could buy, donate to the city, and build a thing on it.
yeah, because one sheet can exist with very tight margins on about 2 acres of land.
Okay.
2 sheets, again, still kind of tight margins, is like 4 acres.
We need parking.
Yeah,
We need to have
Yeah.
events,
especially for the events.
parking.
So we're
Houston,
looking
man.
around
You got the-
5.
Hey, what about the
6
Astrodome?
acres.
Why don't
Wouldn't
y'all
that be
take over
great?
the Astrodome?
Oh my gosh.
we can't afford that.
Yeah, right.
We can't buy the Astrodome, unfortunately.
But yeah, but I mean,
or
we're,
renovate it.
you know, the go big or go home thing. If Houston wants to be, you know, what are we, the 3rd or 4th largest city in the
Yes.
country?
You know what we need to do?
We need an ice rink.
We need to put a retractable roof on it.
There you go.
There you go.
Add another 50 million to it, right?
Yeah, no, totally kidding.
Okay, so best case scenario is somebody from the city starts visiting with y'all about what this would look like at
Yeah.
least. And then-
Basically, the foundation that we've built is we have the community, we have the organizations, we have the demand, we've looked at the business models, we've done the background research into what it would take. Now we need the property in the capital,
yeah.
and we need help with that.
Have y'all talked to the mayor at all?
We're looking into having a meeting with him. There's a couple of like details that you need to work out before you
Before
have
you
a
can sit
meeting
down
with
with
the mayor.
I've only had very limited
But-
interaction with him, but he seems like a really good head on his shoulders, good guy, logical, wants good things for the community. He's here to serve. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I would suspect
I-
he'd be open to a conversation.
I think some of this is new. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and people I engage with, adults who don't skate, right, are shocked that we even have rinks.
How many people did y'all get to sign the petition?
9,000.
9,000.
9,000 people signed a petition saying, please don't close the Memorial City Ice Rink.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
I'm
people.
super impressed. But my biggest surprise is if you go out and you talk to anyone in Houston, they go, "Oh, you skate in Texas?"
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we
That's my
have
experience.
figure skating.
Yeah.
I mean, I did collegiate skating over at A&M, and I tell you, nobody there knew that the ice rink existed.
Did you
Yeah.
grow up in Houston, or where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Houston. I'm from West Houston, and then I went to Linear Middle School and then DeBakey High School. So been around the area the whole time. Went
Wh-
over to A&M.
Where did you skate when you were a kid?
Memorial City.
Okay. got it. Okay.
It opened in 2003. I was born in 2003.
Yeah, and that's where
I've
you
been
grew
there
up.
the whole time.
Wow. Okay, and then you got to A&M skating at A&M. Nobody knew there was a rink there.
No, everybody was like, we have a figure skating
I
team?"
travel around the country to skate, and
They
then you're
don't-
like, "Texas? You have rinks
Houston?
there?" Like,
It, it's an untapped market,
Yes.
guys.
It
If
is.
you want to talk business,
That's what I'm saying. These Deep South guys might need to open a couple more
And
real quick.
even within, so one thing that's been amazing about working with the hockey community, because we're both figure skaters but by trade, one thing that's been amazing about working with the hockey community is normally our only interactions with them are like we're fighting them for ice time because there's not enough. Like even with Memorial City before the closure, we're fighting them for hours. We're asking for more time, saying we'll buy it from the ice rink. Like it's not a problem. We have the people, we have the numbers. Our figure skating organization, like we have the money to buy more ice time. They just don't have enough to give. But one thing that's amazing about working with the hockey people is like now we're coming together with all of our like commonalities of like, oh, we love the ice so much. And it's really interesting to hear their take on how empowering hockey has been for their community as well, the same way that figure skating has been for ours. And it's just been incredible to see the amount of passion
Yeah.
that exists.
Nothing unites people like a common enemy.
Right.
yeah, yeah.
The hockey people
Yeah,
coming
but
together.
there's not enough ice in Houston even before the Memorial City closure.
Okay,
Like,
so just to put back on my for-profit hat for a second,
Uh-huh.
what does it cost to rent ice for an hour
it depends what facility you go to.
at Memorial City? If that doubled to $900 an hour,
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I
what
mean,
happens?
Deep South is charging more for their ice now, and so they've started raising prices on our community, and it has ruffled some feathers, I will say.
I get it.
But
So I'll give you an idea of the cost breakdown. So we all rent ice
Yeah.
because that is the model in Houston. No one just owns their ice and says, "Here you go," right?
Okay.
So the clubs, whether that's a hockey club or that's the figure skating club,
Yeah.
we're contracted for a rate for a year. Our rate went up 40% last year.
Okay, wait.
That's shocking.
I'm writing some of this down.
Right?
So
So-
give the hockey example.
Uh-huh.
For me to do hockey for a season would, if I'm signing up like your dad for the adult league, roughly what would that cost me? Any idea?
Do you know what the leagues cost like that?
no, I
Yeah.
mean, I know what different figure
What
skating
about figure
organizations
skating?
would cost. Like HITS, our theater on ice organization, costs between $2,000 and $3,000 a year, not including your travel fees and not including like extraneous things like your
Okay.
So
costumes and stuff.
HITS is an ice theater team,
Okay.
and they compete nationally and internationally.
Okay.
They are part of our club. Theater on ice has gotten really big across the country, and our teams just came back from nationals. All three teams, different levels of teams, all came home with bronze medals,
Okay, that's
which was
fantastic.
amazing, right?
Pewter medals. Fourth
Sorry,
place.
pewter medals.
So 20, let's just say $3,000 a year.
Yeah, so they're
my kid to
doing
participate
that.
in this.
And for that 3,000 to 3,000, wherever that falls
Yeah.
into, that is meant to cover all the expenses incurred with early morning ice time to practice as a team.
And does something go towards the
The
teachers,
coaches
the
as-
coaches,
the
Yes.
coaches as well
coaches.
get paid.
So there are a
Yes.
couple of coaches that covers costumes, that covers ice time. So it's not all ice, but it is to be on that team, that competitive team. It's going to cost parents a substantial amount of money, and a good percentage of that is just the ice.
And that's for a full year, two to
That's
3,000.
for a
Season.
season.
How
So
long is
they
the season?
start. I think they've started earlier recently because they're putting in more.
Is it season
work,
6 months?
Probably
or-
October to June.
How many months is
9-ish
that?
months.
9-ish months. Okay,
Yeah,
so
the same is it's similar for hockey as well, where they start in the fall and end in the spring, and then there's like an off season over the summer. And I would say fees are probably similar because the ice time and the coaching costs about the same.
So I'm just being dramatic here for a
Mhm.
second. Let's just say it's 3,000 for 12 months. That's
Mhm.
including some free skating time.
Mhm.
If my kid's out of season, I still want him to go up there and
Nope, that's
Nope.
No,
different.
that's different.
So I'll tell you the figure skating side on that. So that's just to be on a team,
Okay.
right? Who needs a couple of hours on Saturday mornings to
Okay.
skate as a
Okay,
team.
got it.
So as a figure skater, you are paying your coach privately.
Okay.
You are buying freestyle time.
And these theater kids also have a figure skating coach?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
they're all skaters too, but they also do this team sport, which is kind of new for figure skaters,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
To be on a team.
Yeah.
So if you're a figure skater, you're paying a coach who is usually an independent contractor,
Yeah.
right? So those rates are going to be
What are they? 100
Very
bucks?
cool.
Specific.
50, 60 bucks, 100 bucks,
Probably
150 bucks?
90 to 100 an hour.
90 to 100 an hour. Okay.
yeah. So you're also paying for the ice time, and for a skater who is in their own skates, who's going and skating regularly, they're buying half-hour sessions, and they're paying the rink directly for half-hour sessions.
Probably
what? How much is
$16
it?
to $20 an hour.
Okay.
Okay. So you've already got your own skates. That's
Yeah.
another whole discussion. It gets to be an expensive sport, but group classes are another opportunity that's much more family friendly, money friendly, right? That's taking up some of the ice, which is why we can't get more.
And that's between $200 and $350 a month for one skater.
Okay. So
Sorry, $100 and $250 a month for one skater.
Okay, so 250 for one
Mhm.
skater a month. Is that for the full year or just for the year, just for the 3 months I'm not doing the theater thing?
The group classes are for like more like low level introductory skaters. The freestyle sessions, the 16 to 20 an hour, that's for people who are training independently. That's the 3 months that you're not doing theater. That's actually the entire year because you are an independent skater on top of being on this team.
Okay, got it. So for me to be an independent skater is
Yeah.
about 3,000 bucks a year. If I want to do additional stuff on top of that, it can be another 2 to 3,000 a year.
Yeah. So
Okay,
the
got
other
it.
thing, the reason I buy ice
Yeah.
as president of Figure Skating Club, I'm buying ice for competition time. Like I may need the ice for 3 or 4 days straight.
Mm-hmm.
We do test sessions. Skaters have to go through many tests in their
Yes. To
To
craft.
move up levels.
And
in the
I may
sport.
buy 8 hours on a Sunday, and it's all testing.
Yeah.
It's testing from 5:30 in the morning until
2 p.m.
2 p.m., 4
Yeah.
p.m. So I'm buying the ice time for that. So it's a limited amount of ice
Yeah.
that we can all kind of share, but we're paying a good amount for that, right?
So to stay in the sort of dramatic vein, just to push on this a little bit,
Mhm.
if you doubled that, if
Mhm.
now rather than 3,000 a year for my kid, it costs 6,000 a year. And if I'm looking at other kid activities, like to come do jujitsu here or kickboxing here is call it 200 bucks a month, 250 bucks a month. But we just have like a warehouse and mats, and
Mhm.
we don't have ice to maintain. If I wanted my kid to do like horseback riding, now I'm Rick shelling out some bucks to go do that. So some of these activities that include abnormal things like an ice rink in Houston or a horse or something like that are going to cost more. And
It is a club sport.
it's like I'm and for me to participate or my kid to participate in that, I got to be willing to shell out some more bucks rather
Yeah,
than
I will say
like the church soccer league
Right.
that's 200 bucks for the whole
Yeah,
year. or
I will
whatever.
say that hockey's probably a little bit cheaper than figure skating is because you don't have that like independent private skating training on top of your team sport. So hockey's primarily they work with their like they have like a 12U team and they work with that coach and they coach the whole team and they do drills and they do scrimmages and then they go play games occasionally depending on what their schedule looks like. But I believe, to the best of my knowledge, that's all one included price. If they want to skate on a stick and puck, which is their like free skating time like we would have in figure skating as freestyles, that is a separate charge. But to my understanding, there's a lot fewer of those and it's a lot less common to be utilizing those as your main training, as whereas in figure skating you're doing most of your training on a freestyle session.
Yeah.
But
Well,
when you ask what happens if you double the ice
Yeah.
cost,
You get no customers.
no or less.
it becomes a very elite sport,
Yeah.
Very quickly.
right? For those that can
Yeah.
afford that.
Yeah.
But you would price a lot of people out.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
The majority of the sport, I think I would say.
Yeah, there is some friction where you're like talking about how much is too much cost to bear, right? And
When you get into the higher levels, the costs increase because as the coaching gets better, the prices increase. As your costumes get more elaborate, the prices increase. The more choreography is advanced, the prices increase as well. So there is kind of like a staircase, I would say, of like pricing in figure skating.
Yeah.
But for the majority of people, it is a big expense.
Well, this might be an unpopular thing to say, but this is Memorial. People have more money to spend and will spend more money on their kids than other parts of town. And I think if you want an ice rink in Memorial, you're going to have to charge more just from the
Yes.
cost of the land and everything else. You know what I mean? It's been my
So
experience.
I will say that for Ice Skate Memorial City, they have been historically charging less for Publix, freestyles, and contract ice than the other facilities in town.
Okay.
And Deep South, what they're doing right now is what you're talking about, where they're increasing prices because they know they have a top of the line facility.
And you have to stay in business. Yeah, I get that. Well, I mean, you could do both. You could have, people that are paying a lot for their time, and then if you wanted to have, a section of time that's cheaper for more people to,
for public.
however you want to
That's
phrase
what
that.
public skate generally is.
Yeah. So that if you're going to go the for-profit lens, you just have to, I don't know if double or 50% more or whatever, but you would have to charge more than you're currently getting charged at Memorial
So we
City.
do know that we're not going with the for-profit lens with the fact that we've already formed our nonprofit.
Yeah.
And it's not a federal nonprofit yet, but we are exploring all of the different nooks and crannies and details that you have to iron out before you file officially for a 501c3.
So y'all are hoping to keep it affordable for folks from all over to come do
again,
this.
the goal is to be run by the community for the community. So we're keeping the people at the forefront of our minds and not the money necessarily.
Yeah. Well, super cool.
Yeah. And as much as I enjoy competitive skating, I've seen so much more that comes out of Memorial City than I ever anticipated. And I think it's because people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. So as being in charge of a figure skating club, you see all the activities.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were challenging ourselves a few months ago. It says, what makes us special? What's different? And first thing that came to my mind is we do an annual Nutcracker show. I don't know if anyone knows about this, if they're not in the skating community, but I invite my friends to it, or at least have for the last few years. And they are shocked. And I took a whole table of friends this year. And at the end, right, they said, why doesn't Houston know about this? Why isn't this on television?
This should be like advertised.
People should know about this.
It's not something that is specifically unique to Memorial City. Other facilities do a Nutcracker show as well. They're just not widely advertised because it's mostly like for the parents and for like the families and stuff.
Well, we sell out. We do a matinee and an evening performance. It's sold out for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It's super impressive, though, when people see it. And that's when you see the whole community. Because you can have the little Learn to Skate group class kids participating.
They're like 3-year-olds just like toddling down the ice as penguins. And it's the cutest thing on the planet. You have to have somebody older out there holding them up a little bit. But they're in these little cute little outfits and it's wonderful. Then you also have the people who go to nationals.
Elite skaters.
They're the main leading roles and they're out there doing triples. And you get to watch that. And they're 10 feet from your face.
Yeah.
Because we put the seating on the ice. So.
You run a carpet around the perimeter inside the rink.
You put bleachers
black
on.
out everything around the glass because it is ticket sales.
Yeah.
But, I tell my friends, make sure you wear warm footwear because you're going to be on the ice. And that little carpet doesn't make
do
a
much.
good barrier, right? And it's a long show. But we had hundreds of skaters in there. And from the little ones all the way through, it's impressive to watch the teens.
Yeah.
We have some really, really competitive, high-level teens, and they make the best coaches for the little ones, right? You watch the whole thing. I stood behind and said, if anybody looked at this would look like controlled chaos.
Oh, it is.
There's so much going on behind the curtain that no one would know about.
Yeah.
And I took a few pictures, just candid pictures for myself, not knowing it was going to be our last Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Right? But you look at this and go, this is a whole ecosystem.
I mean, I've been our director for that show is Nicole Nichols, and she's also the figure skating director at Memorial City. She's done a wonderful job with the show as long as she's run it. I was kind of her assistant the past 2 or 3 years, and it quite literally is controlled chaos because you just put one coach in charge of a group and you say, you just tell the coach whenever the group needs to come up, and it's just this. There's so many moving parts. There's so many people involved. You've got the sets. You've got the ice itself of like knowing when the ice cuts need to happen, communicating with the right people. You have guys running the lights from the second floor. You've got all the family members. You've got like people scanning tickets at the front.
Yeah.
You've got all the different like fundraising booths. It's a massive production.
And it's not just classic Nutcracker music like the ballet. We have Black Sabbath going on. We have all sorts of stuff that have like modernized it. So it's really
Black
entertaining.
Sabbath,
Yeah,
Nutcracker,
it's a
big
modern
Yeah.
it's a modern Nutcracker.
You wouldn't expect it, but
That's
it's
wild.
fascinating. So I'm a bit disappointed by that. And to segue, the other reason I think it was kind of emotional this year. We do a
Yeah.
senior send-off every year for our graduating seniors.
Mm.
Mhm.
And when I put together a slideshow, because I have access to club stuff,
Yeah.
and I tried to go back and find all the kids that were graduating this year. It was after the rink was announced its closure. Here we go.
This was like two or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I think only.
this is my favorite event
Mhm.
because you get to see these kids completely grown now, right? They're
Mhm.
getting ready to go to college. They're with their coaches. Lots of times they've had the same coach for many, many years, and the coach will get up and talk to them about it. I think it's amazing because you don't always expect these little kids to mature to this extent at 18. And the message is it is the discipline and it's the resilience. And you've taught kids they have to fall down because you don't learn anything without falling. And they are getting back up. And then they've grown into these adults where they volunteer at events and they perform in the shows and they've done all the main character roles. It's amazing. And at the end of it, here they are, they're graduating and we're saying, thank you for representing our club.
They've traveled internationally sometimes
Wow.
for representing our club. We have international skaters. We have national skaters. These are televised events. These are hundreds of
That's
thousands
such a
of dollar
loss.
events.
Yeah.
But this group of 8, we had
Yeah.
8 this year, took their first figure skating test at Memorial City. They all grew up together.
Yeah.
All of them
Like
are
that
originally
was
from Memorial.
really, really hard to kind of say this is the last time we're doing this, right? It's
Mhm.
really hard, but they've grown up to be really neat.
Yeah.
Really neat kids.
Well, it sounds like again from a guy that knows nothing about what do you call ice sports? Is that what it's called?
Ice sports.
Ice sports.
Because
When
we
I
wanted
think-
to go ice sports because there's like hockey and
Yeah,
figure
yeah, I
skating,
get it.
sure, but there's also like curling and sled hockey, and that's not necessarily.
We interview a lot of people
skating.
from other
Yeah.
sports, whether it's football or baseball or jiu-jitsu or MMA or kickboxing, whatever. It's the same story for each sport. Like it's great for the youth. It's great for the adults to stay healthy. You know, you've got these adult hockey league. This sounds like a really great thing for the community. Like you said, 9,000 people signed the petition or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, it really is a missed opportunity for there not to be a better ice rink
I think
coming out of this thing.
I think when we tallied up the numbers to like really emphasize how large the community is, we said between 1,500 and 1,700 weekly skaters.
Yeah,
That's the people who are part of our figure skating club, the people who are part of the Learn to Skate program, the people who are part of each of the individual hockey organizations. Hockey is less centralized, and so we had to kind of track down each individual sign-up sheet. And then including all the public skaters, there's a large community of recurring public skaters. They come every single week. They're all friends with each other. They know each other's names and birthdays and stuff, and they are another micro community within our larger ice sports world. And yeah, I think the
6,000.
final number.
Our final number was 6,000 displaced
Yeah.
skaters.
like 6,000 regulars.
Yes.
Yeah,
is that a way to-
1,500
Yes.
weekly.
So you
6,000.
got kind of 6,000 people that are regularly using it
In one way or
in
another.
one way or another.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. You know,
Yeah.
if you think about like even our gym, we've got, call it 300 people. Like, we've got 6 locations, but say 300 at each location each week that come in and train. So then you guys are at 1,500 to,
Yeah.
6,000 regulars. That, reminds me of like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with West Side. Maybe y'all should go put it on. Well, they got a bunch of land over there. Maybe Mattress Mac will build you an
We
ice
did.
rink.
I'm
We
a
did reach
member.
out to them.
Are you?
Yeah.
Did you reach out to them?
I'm a
We reached
member.
out to them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're always doing cool stuff. Yeah, like I mean, you're on that west side level of traffic coming through there. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a big.
Yeah.
Maybe we should
Group
get
of people.
giraffes.
Yeah,
Giraffes
on the
would
ice.
do it. Yeah.
Giraffe legs on the ice. That'd go over well. Okay, so got it. So again, best case scenario, we end up with a better ice rink situation than we had at Memorial City Mall that's here for generations.
Yeah.
For people like you that started when you were born on that rink and
Yeah.
have
I
this.
mean, do you want us to go into like how we started skating and what our journeys have been?
A little, just what I'm left with is skating made a very lasting impression on y'all's lives, that y'all still enjoy it to this day, that you found success on the ice and the niches that you, and knowing nothing about ice figure skating, but you guys crushed it clearly and you're still crushing it and y'all want to help other kids crush it. And that needs to keep going forward for folks here in the Houston area.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
started at 30
Did you really? That's
Yeah.
so cool.
because they tore down my ice rink when I was a kid.
Yeah.
No.
Do you remember? Well, probably not. It's been too long. The Town and Country or City Center
Yeah.
post office.
Okay.
Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
That used to be an ice rink.
I do remember that.
They
Yeah.
tore down the ice rink. It was called the Ice House. And then they
Okay.
built this metal building, which became the U.S. Post Office over there.
Okay.
Yeah. But when I was a kid, I could ride my bike there
Okay.
and I could skate around. So in sixth grade, I would ride my bike up there and you could be anyone you wanted on the ice. It was
Wow.
great.
Yeah.
And then they tore it down and that was the end.
That was the end. And
Yeah.
then when they built Memorial City, that's when you got back into it, or
No, so it was before that. But when I turned 30, I never lost that desire to get back on the ice.
Yeah.
But when I turned 30, I was an oil and gas person.
Yeah.
I had a global role. I traveled a lot. And somehow at 30, I was like, doesn't matter. I'm just going to find time and go to a rink and pick up a business card and see if I could take lessons. And I did. And it'll be 30 years next year. It was shocking.
Wow.
Technically,
So-
I didn't start until I was 14. The Olympics comes around and you're like, I want to try ice skating. And like your friend has a birthday party at the ice rink. And so I was kind of adjacent in that sense. I did ballet for 9 years, gymnastics for 4 or 5-ish years. And I'd kind of do like a couple of group classes whenever the Olympics would come around. But then I was 14, super tired of gymnastics. I hated it. And I was missing the career development from ballet. So went back to figure skating. And it's been 8 years. It'll be 9 next year. Yeah.
So we're kind of non-traditional as
Yeah.
far as starting into the sport. but
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to you were like, yo, you've been skating your whole life. I was
No,
like, I don't
well,
want to.
you're right.
Go down
I
that.
assume that, but that's
Yeah.
cool to know that even, I would think that, oh, you start this as a kid and it's a life. Like somebody from up north skated their whole life. They came down here. They want to keep doing it. That
Yeah.
story makes sense to me. But you guys are like, no, at any point in your life, you can jump in and
I mean, we
love
have
this thing.
a fantastic adult skating community. She mentioned the adult nationals, and we take a group she takes a group every year. I haven't gone yet. She's been trying to get me to go.
Yeah.
But they take a group every year, and every time they come back, they're like, oh my God, it was so much fun. And in my mind, it's like I did collegiate figure skating. Collegiate figure skating is also a wonderful community. And actually Rice and Texas A&M are part of that. And it's just so supportive, and you're literally just there to have so much fun. I mean, that's something that Alyssa Liu has shown to the world, is that figure skating brings joy. You can be at an elite level, and it's so much fun without necessarily having the pressure to be perfect. It's just,
Yeah.
just go out there and have a good time.
I had no idea the impact it would have. Like from a career standpoint, you need it for your brain. You need the physical activity. You need to look forward to it. You need to
Yeah.
goal set. You need that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Everybody needs to find that, whether it's on the jiu-jitsu mat, on the track, playing golf, on the ice, whatever.
I also play golf.
Do you?
I think figure
love
skating's
it.
better, but I do play golf.
Yeah, and selfish plug, if anybody is really upset about this ice rink thing, needs to
I'll
come
go-
take out some aggression.
Yes,
they can come hop in a kickboxing class or something.
I'll go punch them.
Yeah,
I can do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go try that after this.
Yeah, that's right. Come on. Okay, so to summarize, we need to make a proposal to the folks at the city. ? How do you go about doing that? I know that y'all have been in communication with city council folks, but what's that process like?
There's a form
Okay.
on the Parks and Rec website. We've looked at it.
And some of y'all went down and spoke at a city council meeting.
Yes.
That was
Yes.
more of the like,
Save the rink.
yeah,
Okay, got it.
help us not close our ice rink.
Yeah.
I think conversations have been pivoting a lot in the past
Month.
week or two,
Week or two,
actually,
okay.
towards really how can we dedicate all of our efforts to building a new ice rink.
Yeah.
And so we have looked at that form that's on the Parks and Rec website for Houston. We have been in contact with, I don't know if you know State Representative Lacey Hull.
Yeah,
She's
she's
been
great.
helping us out a lot. She's really awesome. All of our like city council members we've been in touch with. And yeah, we're going to start pivoting conversations towards how we're kind of closing the book on Metro National
Yep.
and Ice Skate Memorial City, but how can we really look forward to building a new rink? And that's who would help with like getting the architectural design done, who's going to help with like the insulation, where do we get a steel building, who's going to fund this kind of thing, who would the operators be, do we need people who know how to pour concrete for a slab, do we know anybody who builds Zambonis, do we know anyone who does like the chillers and HVAC permitting?
I do. I know the guy that did Memorial City. I got you on
Oh,
that
perfect.
one. I got you on that one.
who does the who does the permitting for the city? There's so many moving pieces, and then there's also like literally the construction company. There's so many moving pieces with something like this, and we're really trying to take it like one step at a time. And our first goal is the funding and the land, and then we're really starting to put things together after that. But we are trying to figure out what kind of a design we're going for, and like who would generally be the operator, something like this. Like those are big pieces.
Yeah.
That would probably come before something like, where do we get a Zamboni from?
Well, is there a human or a type of human that would help walk through? I'm just thinking through the request to the city, the request to the mayor and city council. Is it someone on city council that goes, hey, this is what we need to do? Or is there a outside consultant, or is there, like, how do you even approach that situation?
I think the form on the Parks and
You just
the
fill out the
first
form.
step.
and
yeah, you
start
fill out the
talking?
form.
Step.
Yeah, there's also a form where you can request a meeting with the mayor. You have to have a couple of details lined up of like
Yeah.
where you want it, when you want it, like what you're going to discuss, like a formal agenda. And we're also pursuing that avenue just to get as many feelers out as possible of people who can really help us with this effort.
We'd like to start with our own community before having to hire
Yeah,
consultants
yeah.
and
No,
such. I think it
yeah.
just feels better
I didn't mean hire consultant, but
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
that could consult y'all
to tell us how to go
that's
through
from
it.
around
Yeah.
here that's done something similar. I know, like Councilwoman Huffman, she's great.
Yes.
She
Yes.
might be able to give you a tip
She's-
on.
She's been in contact with a couple of our board members as
Yeah.
well, and we've been reaching out to her office as well. So
Yeah, but even they could coach you up a little bit. Like, okay, this is step 1, step 2, and
yeah,
step 3.
we've mostly, like I said, the conversations are pivoting. Like at this point, we've mostly been reaching out to them about the like Save the Rink stuff. But
Yeah.
as kind of the sentiment shifts, those conversations will as well, and they are on our list of people to reach out to and resources that we can turn to.
Okay, cool. So for folks listening that want to support this effort, want to get involved with you guys, I imagine there's probably a few ways in which one would be just like staying in communication.
Yeah,
So
so
how-
we have a website. It's
Okay.
houstonisc.org. There's a contact form on that website. There's also a volunteer form on that website, and a couple of different options you can pick of how you would like to volunteer your time, whether that's like the architectural side, whether that's monetary support, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, we've only just recently filed our paperwork with the state and gotten an EIN, so we're not taking
Yeah, you're not
donations
taking donations.
at
Yeah.
this current moment. We are looking for corporate sponsors or large anchor donors, and that contact page, as well as we have our email, houstonicesports@gmail.com. Reach out to us.
Okay, so let me give that back to you. So y'all aren't doing any fundraising. You might not be doing any ever, but if you do some, you're going to at least figure out the direction you're headed first before you start
Yes.
requesting
Yes.
anything.
Yes, we
Got
don't
it.
want to request money from the community and then not deliver on anything.
Yeah. So you're going to go get the game plan. We're either going to do something on our own and make it a nonprofit, or we're going to do something with the city. And then depending on how those shake out, then there will be a request for funding. And that can be corporate dollars. It could be somebody that just really loves hockey. It could be everybody pitching
Yep.
in for
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
And then they can go to houstonisc.org.
Org.
Why?
Yes.
What is ISC?
Ice Sports Coalition.
icesportscoalition.org.
Yes.
And then they can stay in contact. And is there like a newsletter or updates that y'all send out emails or?
So we haven't yet. Again, like I said, most of our efforts have been focused on the Save the Rink one. We have a large email list for that. But we are trying to keep the two things very separate. One is they're very different goals and different facilities as well. We haven't started really sending out formal communications as Houston ISC
This is the
yet.
kickoff. This is
Yeah,
the first
this is
one.
it.
This
Okay.
is the start.
Okay.
we want to put this on the website.
Okay. Cool.
Yes, we want to put this on our website. We want to be able to show people really what we're about. And we, as soon as we have things to announce to the community, things to show what we've done, then that will be the way that we communicate is through our website and through the contact form. on our
So
website.
somebody listening to this now can just fill out something on the website that would have them in your system for future communications.
That's the contact form.
So that'd be great. So everybody go to the website and type in your email and name and all that, and then you can stay in the loop on how this progresses.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, cool. So that's the big ask from everybody right now. Sign up, stay engaged,
Yes.
stay tuned,
Put our name out there.
put our name out there.
Write a letter to the mayor, tell him we need a
Yeah,
indoor
is that a
recreation
thing?
center.
Yeah.
I think
like,
that's a
do you,
thing.
do you contact city council or mayors and
Yes.
saying, hey, if we flood the everybody's inbox, that helps.
need an
that
ice rink.
That helps.
Yes.
That doesn't tick them off and go,
No.
these people keep emailing me.
I
No.
think
No,
I
I
think they
mean-
enjoy the interaction too
Okay.
because they're hearing from constituents and they're
Yeah.
saying we could do this and this actually is an asset for
Houston-
our community.
Houston is so big that it doesn't really feel like you have your government, like your local government there to really like support you. But this is the time. This is the opportunity, and they love genuinely hearing from the people that they're there to represent.
Yeah.
So
And do y'all know how to? Is there like an email?
yes, there's a website that you can go to of how to look up your council member,
Okay.
and I think it's just district and then whatever letter district you're in.
Like
at-
District G
Yeah.
at whatever. Hey, Dev, can you like
City
pull out your
council.
phone and just Google how we contact the mayor's office? Is
have
that a
it,
thing? Or
actually.
wait, she's gonna look it up. Never mind.
I have it in my
I
email.
was putting too much on Devin over there, our producer.
Yeah, we were doing a lot. It's amazing what you can get now, right? You have access to all of this.
I know. Well, especially
And we were
with,
like digging up stuff. How do we find which district we're in? How do we know who to contact? Like,
Yeah,
what do
yeah.
we tell people who say they want to help?
Yeah.
So-
Okay, so
So the city council members would be district letter at houstontx.gov. And then there are the at-large members. That would be at-large and then a number.
Okay,
It's
so
like 1 through 5.
let's just do Marion Ann Huffman City Council.
So District G at houstontx.gov.
Okay, so I'm gonna slow that down. So if anybody is pumped about this and wants this to be a thing in the community, they can email.
District G at houstontx.gov
Okay,
or mayor at houstontx.gov.
or both.
Or both.
Yes,
both.
please.
Mayor at houstontx.gov. So
Mm-hmm.
send an email to your city council person in the mayor saying you love the rink, you want to save the rink, you want there to be a rink here forever for everybody to participate in.
Yeah.
And then sign up for the newsletter and future communications
On the
on
contact form.
HoustonISC.org.
Yes.
Those are the two big asks from everybody.
Mhm.
Advocate. Nobody's asking for your money, people. Just advocate. Stay in the game.
No one's asking for your money.
Just help us, man. Help us keep this available for future Houstonians. And you're so right. So many people have moved to Houston from up north. A handful of people that I know that play hockey and all that stuff all moved here from
The
somewhere
demand
else.
is there.
Yeah, and it's coming. There's more and more. Even with like wrestling. Wrestling wasn't a thing in Houston when I was really a kid, and now it's becoming more popular. And it was more of a up north thing. And so as people are shifting around the country, all these more youth sports are popping up and things like that. So
Yeah, and we should be able to have the facilities here. We're a big city.
we're a big city, man. I know.
Number 4.
We put a man on the moon. We can get a, you know what I mean? We can get a nice rink going.
We can
So,
build a rocket. We can build an ice rink. Come on,
yeah,
guys.
we got
Yeah.
this. Okay, so let's wrap up. So I really appreciate you guys coming in. This is super cool of you guys to be dedicating so much of your time and energy. And I know y'all been on countless Zoom calls and text threads, and
We meet every single
You
week.
meet every
we
week,
schedule an
and
hour meeting. We
there's
talk for
probably
like
a
2.5.
WhatsApp group or something. Yeah.
Got
So
4 group chats, a bunch of email threads.
yeah, and y'all are literally managing, hundreds of people's ideas and communications coming y'all's way. Everything from going around looking at commercial real estate to, everything you guys are up to. So thank y'all
Building
for
website.
building website. Yeah, filling out the stuff. Thank y'all for doing everything y'all are doing behind the scenes that nobody knows y'all are doing. And for everybody that wants to get involved, email the mayor, email city council, and sign up for the newsletter.
Thank you for having us.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you so much for having
This
us
was
here.
cool. All right. That's a wrap, everybody. Bye, guys.